Hello, folks. Welcome to Sovereignty Sage. My name is Melania Johnson, and I've taken a little time off lately because I'm going to tell you it has been mm, woo. The United States, we are going through some things, folks. And so today, I want to talk about what time it is. What time is it? For all of us and for women. I want to talk about economic leverage. I want to talk about our health and keeping ourselves healthy and informed during this time. So I want to talk about some of the protections that are being eliminated as citizens. And I want to provide some resources. I will leave a lot of resources in the comment section or in the description if you're following on YouTube. So let's get started, shall we? Welcome to the Sovereignty Sage. My mom used to say, Melania, women are the strongest beings on the planet. They just don't know it. Well, I'm here to help you to know it. So why don't we get started, shall we? So, you know, I have been digesting a lot, and I have um, been researching a lot and paying attention to uh, some folks who are really putting real information out there. And I'm going to do an episode just on that alone, where we're getting our information. I'll be honest with you, I don't follow cable news because they are part of the corporate conglomerate that is controlling our country. And so I don't follow cable news, just bits and pieces. But today, I want to talk about what time it is. And what time it is it's time for you to take care of yourself. It's time for you to prioritize your mental health and well-being. It's time for you to prioritize your family. It's time to prioritize community. It's time to prioritize your resources and holding on to them. These are priorities right now. What it is not time to do is tune out. And so there is a balance that you have to have between being informed and doom scrolling or being alarmed and in a constant state of panic. Um, we should be in a panic right now to the extent that our government is being ruled by oligarchs, by people who have a lot of money. One of the things that Trump and Musk said, uh, you're going to feel some pain. Well, why is it the supposed richest country in the world should have to feel pain? Why should its citizens suffer? While the plan is to give these rich oligarchs tax breaks that are unsurpassed. And so it's not time to fall asleep. It's not time to bury your head in the sand. If you want to live, if you have children and grandchildren, you will have to uh, be a part of the resistance to hold on to what bit of a democracy we have enjoyed. Now, for African Americans and marginalized people, we've never really fully enjoyed the true uh, uh, essence and rights and equalities of a democracy. But at least there was a hope, right? Well, that is being taken away for everyone. But unfortunately, the people who voted for this current administration, because of their news sources, they're not really aware of how they're being used and how they too will suffer, because the people who have all of the money want us to do one thing: work all of our lives, practically from birth to death. and not ever accumulate the type of riches that these folks have, right? And so let's just be clear as to where we are. There is an assault on us. And if you're an African American, there definitely is an assault on you. So one of the things that I really want us to be very clear about is, you know, our economic leverage. And here's the other thing too. I think it's really important for you to understand where we are. This democracy is on a decline. Our country is on a decline. We are not the world power that we used to be. And you have to be clear about that. And there's information out there, and this is not hyperbole. It's not. I'm telling you, I'm a researcher, and the signs are really clear. There's BRICS. There's other countries forming economic powers that we are not a part of. And so you have to understand that there may potentially be a collapse of the dollar, meaning that whatever you have saved may amount to nothing. This is not the time to spend. It is not the time to buy frivolous things. It is time to conserve your dollars. Prioritize that. February 28th, there is a call for a national economic blackout. Buy nothing. And I'm going to leave a link in the description so that you can have that information. But buy nothing, nothing, not gas, not food, not clothes, not Amazon, nothing. And I'm telling you now, I don't buy anything. I buy food. I buy gas for my car. That's it. That's all I'm buying. There has not been an Amazon truck pulling up to my house in months, and there won't be. I don't do Target. I don't. But the truth is, I don't do Walmart. I don't. You have to understand it is important at this time to buy local, support local. If you're going to buy anything on the 28th, let it be a local store, a local vendor. But we need to send the message that in order for capitalism to succeed, we have to be mindless consumers. We need to stop consuming. February 28th, for 24 hours, there is an economic blackout being called. Buy nothing. We have to use whatever powers that we have, and the dollar is one of them. I encourage you to take care of yourself during this time. Rest, eat well, be mindful. I have subscribed to the American Medical Association. They have a channel on YouTube. I'll have that link there. They provide, I think it might be weekly updates. Because the CDC is no longer allowed to provide updates to the American citizens, we don't know what is going on health-wise in our country. So if you have not been paying attention, there is an outbreak of measles happening, I believe, in I think it started in Kansas. It's in Texas. I think I heard Georgia and New York State. It's spreading. So if your children are not vaccinated, that might be something that you want to do. This is a preventable disease. This year, the flu is up. In fact, there's probably more cases of the flu now than there is of COVID, even though we have done a half-assed job of tracking that. But I believe 13,000 people have died from the flu, and I think 300,000 have been hospitalized. If you have not gotten your flu vaccination, do so. Won't prevent you from getting the flu, but it may prevent you from having a severe reaction to it. I know that a lot of people have wanted to get rid of their mask, but if you're going to be in groups, it might be something that you consider. Wash your hands, take precautions, because you do not want to be a part of this medical system, this corporate medical system. If you haven't been paying attention, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy, is now the head of the largest health organization. He is racist. He is a conspiracy theorist, and he's a dangerous man. I believe that because of his anti-vaccine campaign in Samoa, there have been a lot of deaths related to that. You have to ask, why would a country want its citizens to be sick? The goal is the people who are in power now, who have orchestrated 2025, Project 2025, want the elimination of this democracy. They also want you to feel pain so that you are more easily controlled. So it's going to be important to you to develop communication systems outside of social media. Talk to your families. Gather in your communities. Protect your community. Also be active in local um, uh, uh, political, right? And I'm going to touch on this later. There are some important races, Republican seats that are going to be open, and I'm going to have a link to that to see what states they're in. If we can turn, I think in some cases, 4 seats, it changes the dynamics. There are a lot of scared. There's a number of things going on. One, greedy people. The virus of greed has overtaken this country. The virus of greed will consume itself. It's a cancer. 2, ignorance. Because of a poor educational system, it's going to take us generations to smarten up as a country. That was by design. If you are not educated, have not been taught your civil rights, civics, you're easily controlled. And we're seeing that play out. So I'm going to have a resource for that. I talked about the AMA. Also, I saw, because I need to take my own advice and do self-care. The thing that when I become stressed, the first thing that goes is my ability to sleep. But so I'm up at, I don't know, sometime in the middle of the night. And, I was on Instagram, and there was someone who was talking about, and this is a strategy. We're being hit with so many things to overwhelm us, to make us feel overwhelmed and defeated. It's a strategy. That's why you need to rest. That's also why you need to pick maybe 2 or 3 things that you're going to follow and focus on, so everything else is not a distraction, right? One of the things that you might want to pay attention to are the consumer protections that are being eliminated. One of them is the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I have a link in that. There's so many protections, that protect us from predatory lenders, that protect us from, corporate abuse. That with the elimination of that department, or the downsizing, or the elimination and implants of people who don't have our best interests at heart, is going to be detrimental to us. So you've got to Decide what is you're going to focus on. I encourage you to focus on your family, focus first on your personal sovereignty. Focus on your home. Understand that coming soon to a theater near you are going to be shortages. There's going to be there's going to be shortages of food. We don't have people to grow that food and harvest that food. We have made enemies of Mexico, who supplies us with a lot of food. We also have bird flu going on, right? And that's going to impact, not only eggs, but our meat industry as well. If you eat meat, because this virus is jumping species. It's in cows and it's also in humans. So I gave if you haven't seen, I think my last podcast was on gardening, having your own garden. It could be a planter garden, a raised bed garden, a porch garden or balcony garden, but grow as much food as you can for yourself. Hold on to your money. Also, just understand that so many of the things that we are buying, right, are being made in countries where they're paying people a fraction of what they pay us. The corporate oligarchs, right? That's the word we're using today, but the plutocracy, because it's worldwide. They want to get as much out of us. They want slaves. They want indentured servants. That's what they want. So when it became too expensive to pay Americans a living wage, what they haven't done in a long time, stop to think that the federal minimum wage is $7.25. Who among us could live, even working full time, off of $7.25 an hour? And that has been persistent across every administration, Republican and Democrat. Know during this time that your government is not coming to save you. The Democrats don't have a plan. Not a one. So taking care of your personal sovereignty, your home, making certain that it's secure in all ways is going to be important. Grow food, conserve your dollars, take care of your family, support your community. Keep your dollars in your community. See, the ease of being able to get things like, ordering things off of Amazon. Amazon started out as books, and I'm going to talk about them over and over again because their presence has eliminated so many little shops and stores that we would have normally supported because they were in our communities, and that's where we would go. But now we can just scroll and buy things, or if you have a smart speaker like I do, you can tell it to buy something off of Amazon, and boom, it's done. Those big Also understand and pay attention to what is happening to the farming community here. They voted against their own interests, and now they're finding out. They're in the FO stage. U.S. aid, that department that was on hold and on freeze, that help poor people around the world, help research, help supply folks with medicines like HIV medicines, has stopped. Their welfare subsidies, so to speak, farmers from the government also stopped. Those contracts stopped. They provided food for a lot of those countries. And you also have to ask yourself, how is it the richest humans on the planet are okay with taking food and medicine from some of the most vulnerable people on the planet? That's where we are. That's why I say you have to take care of yourself. Start a garden. Help your children to learn how to plant and take care of and grow food. It will help them to have a connection to this planet and fight for it, because they're going to have to fight to have a clean, habitable planet. They have to have a relationship to it. Indigenous people always knew this and taught this to their children, to respect the earth. The move now is to eliminate some of these smaller farms so large corporate farms can be the supplier of all our food. Once they control all the food, they control you. Grow your own as much as you can. Join co-ops or community bulk food co-ops. It's going to be less expensive. You'll get locally grown food. Because do we really know what these large corporations are feeding us? Pesticides. That's one. We have cancers and all sorts of maladies going on in our body, mainly from the food that we eat. So there's that. Take care of your families. I'm going to do a podcast on community schooling. They are going to cut the Department of Education. This is going to become, they're going to insert religion into schools. And some of you might say, oh, well, I don't have a problem with that. Well, separation of church and state. Not everybody is a Christian. They're not going to promote everyone's religion and accept those who have no religious affiliation, but it will replace science. They're not going to teach the full history of the American experience here, meaning our African American history and contribution to this country. These are things you must teach your children yourself. Community schools, community weekend schools. We'll talk about that. So that's enough of me rambling on today. Let's go to today's quote. It's not time to tune out. Prioritize self-care, your family, and community. That came from me. Sovereignty starts first at home with yourself. Then it moves to your community, national and international. So one of the priorities that I talked about is, self-care, protecting your well-being. My company, Be Smart Coaching, offers a 6-week mental fitness program. And I'm telling you, we have got to fight. Get our meditation practices on. If you're a prayerful person, you pray. You've got to have some strategies to keep your mental well-being strong and mentally fit, because there is an assault on us. And the first assault is our mental well-being. So I offer a 6-week program that really helps you to understand the saboteurs that are impacting your life, that make you miserable, maybe that keep you in fear or keep you anxious or keep you feeling like a victim. or keep you hyper vigilant or critical of others and yourselves. With this 6-week program, there's an amazing app that you will have access to every day that will have exercises and will help you track your mental fitness growth, because it is something that you have to focus on every day. And it provides exercises throughout the day that will help you to build greater levels of resilience. And that is something that we're going to need in this time. There is a weekly group coaching session that I facilitate with 5 other folks who are looking to build up their mental fitness and to have a community of support. This program was created by Shirzad Shameen, who wrote the best-selling New York Times best-selling book, Positive Intelligence. It's an amazing program. I use it myself on the daily. It has helped me to really be able to control some saboteurs that have been defeating me for years. So go to my website, www.besmartcoaching.com, to learn more. Mental fitness, prioritize it. And so I'm going to talk about one more thing today. And again, I'm going to put these resources in the description for this podcast. But there are some Republican seats up for reelection. We need to be able to get some of those seats. So the thing that is going to save us has to be multi-pronged. One is the political side. So if you are doing nothing, do something. This is not the time to Netflix and chill. Yes, build in some time for that, but this is the time to get organized, to get people into office that represent your needs, that get people into office that believe in term limits. And if they don't believe in term limits, we do so. We vote them out. Get people who have not been bought and sold by lobbyists and corporations, because that's where we are right now. So if you have an opportunity to lend your talents in some way to political campaigns that might help to stop this and change the tide for this country and generations to come, use your efforts for that. Also understand, because again, I like to look at our personal sovereignty. So what I talked about earlier was the things that we can do for our own personal sovereignty. And then I look at the collective sovereignty. This is something to do for the collective. Also, what you might not notice, depending upon where you're getting your information from, that there are protests going on around this country. They're not being televised because the news sources are also a part of corporations. They're bought and they're sold. Look at all those commercials, pharmaceuticals, insurance companies, right? They're bought and sold. So they're only going to give you what is going to be a distraction. I have a subscription to the New York Times. And like I said, I'm looking at them sideways to make sure, are they really, what are they reporting on? But I also have a subscription to Ground News. Ground News gives us a look at stories that are being presented by different news outlets and how they lean. Is this being covered by the right, the independent, the middle, or the left? Where are the blind spots? I'm so clearly able to see why Republicans are not on the same page as everyone else during this time, because a lot of the information is not being given to them through their news sources. So be careful find news sources and papers, get information from outside of this country, like the BBC and other news outlets, so that you can see how other countries are reacting to us and see what they are reporting on. because we are being censored. So I have run my mouth enough for one day. If you haven't heard this lately, you are powerful. Now claim your sovereignty and go rule your world. I'll be back next week, Wednesday. Take care. Prioritize you, your mental well being, your family, your community. Keep your money in your pockets. February 28th, National Economic Boycott.